Hello, the internet. I would say good evening, but it isn't. It's good afternoon. Good afternoon. So welcome to an evening of code, a pun that doesn't actually work in this episode because half-term childcare, so 7 hours early. If you're watching this 7 hours late, good evening. I'm sorry I wasn't there at the normal time, but childcare. Right, let's dive in. Let's actually my laptop's set up. That one. Okay, so what are we doing? We're looking at building something that talks to this thing, the Eve ESI API, because I play a lot of Eve Online. It's best described as spreadsheets in space, and I figured, no, let's make it programming in space because much more fun. We have very complex markets in Eve. Tools like Eve Marketeer exist, and they provide information about pretty much everything on the very player-driven markets based on the NASDAQ, and you have people putting sell orders, people putting buy orders, and they can get matched, or you can manually go in and execute those orders. The reason why I'm doing this is because the way that you determine how something is priced is not necessarily straightforward. If we look at this particular page that I've got open, we're looking here at the Tristan, a type of ship I actually need to buy the next time I play because I have lost, in inverted commas, one due to some sheer stupidity. And we can see here that the price for a Tristan is 380,400. Well, if I was selling a Tristan, should I say, I would get 380,400 ISK. The in-game thing is ISK. ISK is also the Icelandic krona. Eve is done in Iceland. I'm not the only one who likes a good pun. So, sound is so low, apparently. Let's see what Alex is saying about that. Let's see, Alex, how is the sound? I'm seeing lots of good levels. Maybe turn the volume. The music might be low. But no, sound is clear for Alex. Excellent. Anyway, yes. So if I was selling a single Tristan, the price is 380,400 ISK. If I was selling 100, it's not. It's close, but it's not that. If I was selling 1,000, the price drops considerably, and I would probably move the market. And these are considerations that are not necessarily taken into account with the existing tool sets. So up here we've got some information about the price. I think this is the top 5% of orders. I don't know how they calculate the weighted average, but magic. The median price, and these are fine, but sometimes you get items with quite large spreads in what they're selling for. I'm just wondering if I can get one of the skins, because they tend to be... No, not going to do that for me. Let's try that again. There we are. There's quite a wide spread there, and a very wide spread on the buyers. So it looks like if I was to get hold of a bunch of these skins, I could make 56 million a pop. But actually, when I get to the fourth, I'm down to 6 million, and that's not necessarily good. And obviously, no opportunity for arbitrage because they're selling for 3.7 billion. There's one other thing to consider in all of this, and that is, if we look here, there are 97 orders for a Tristan at 380,400, but that expires in 21 hours. So not only have you got the sort of the depth of the market in terms of buy and sell orders there in this ladder, but you've also got the time component to consider, and would I be able to exploit that price in time is something to consider. So that's not going to be looked at today, but what I am going to do is start looking at how I might look inside the ladder and do stuff. So I had a small panic. If you recall, we've got something that now connects to the to ESI, downloads all the universe data for regions, constellations and systems, and then uses that to pull out the station ID that we want, so we can then go and pull out the region market data and just look at the particular station or the particular system that we're interested in. And the universe data is cached for 24 hours. So it takes a long time to download the universe data because there's a lot of it, and I'm making a lot of calls to do it. There's a recursive thing that goes off and does it. So I thought I'd warm the caches before this stream started, and it failed to work, and then it just hung. And there was small panics, and then I realised the Eve servers go down at 11 UK time every day. So I obviously started hitting it when the API server was about to be shut down, then it got shut down, and when I restarted it I just didn't get a response back from the load balancers for forever. Anyway, it then started working, which it was a bit of a relief. So the first thing I want to do today is to cache this market data. Don't want to cache it for as long as sorry, excuse me, same child that I'm looking after this tonight has given me a cold, so I'm a little bit croaky. Anyway, I want to cache the market data because it takes not as long as the universe data, but it does take time to come down, and certainly during development I don't want to be putting it down constantly, so maybe we'll cache it for 5 minutes, although for the purposes of this stream I'll probably cache it for the whole stream. So we're going to do that very much in the same way that we did caching of the universe data, insofar as we're just going to create a JSON file and throw it there. So in our universe we have a save and a load, and I'm pretty sure that we can just cut and paste those into our market data. Alex is asking, there are skins in Eve now? Yes, there are. Actually, it's skins in capital letters because it stands for... Let's go look it up. Let's narrow that search down. Super Kerr-induced nanocoatings, or skin. I have no idea what a Kerr-induced nanocoating is and what makes it super, but yes, they're phenomenally expensive for what they are. They do get dirty though, and you can clean your ship. Anyway, yes, I reckon we can take our save and load and we can shove it into our market data. Now, our market data, did we keep? We didn't keep a time for when it was updated. So I might want to do that. I think I may have mentioned this during the last stream that I might want to do that. We don't want to refresh the whole cache, or do we? Yeah. Possibly not. We may be refreshing stuff in there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the time on a per market basis. So let's keep the naming consistent with the region. What do we call it? Creation. It's all very grandiose with the creation and universe failures and stuff. And I'll just put those with buy and sell because these are going to be written out to JSON now. We want to just specify the tags. And then our markets, it's just going to be data. So under markets we can have, let's go down to universe. Cutting and pasting code is bad. As soon as someone can show me how to get code across for reference without side-by-side screens, then I will stop cutting and pasting. But for now, I use this as kind of reference. So what are we doing? We're doing the load outside of the... I'm actually going to move this up slightly because the load's going to be outside of the We're probably going to have to rename load because that's going to collide. Might actually put load into the markets. I think I will. So let's actually undo that move. Okay, so update is going to do all of this. In fact, no, we'll do load. This is going to be M markets load. Load data from the market cache. Actually, for the markets. Because this will try and load data from the disk cache, otherwise grab it all from the ASI. If the data is not cache, load may take some time to complete. Yes, it will. So we're not actually returning anything other than an error. Here we are loading markets. Don't care about the universe. Very grandiose statement. That now wants to be the universe cache. It's used all over the place. Let's do a rename on that. Cannot be bothered fighting through the refactor. Sometimes that refactor is a little bit too thorough. And I really only care. Oh, that'll be why. It's all over the place. Ah! We will use the refactor. Inverse cache. Right, so in market we don't care about that at the moment because we're... Did I mean to do that? Use an ID, it saves time. I can see Alex chortling away. Right, don't care about market. Thank you. You are doing that correctly, you're doing that correctly, you're doing that correctly. Do I care about these unclassified things? Don't care about market. No, don't want the unclassified usages. There we go. Do refactor. Thank you. Boom. Does that all look good? That all looks good. Excellent. Why have we got a... because here that also wants to be an M. Right. So our loading markets. So we need a market cache, which will show up here. Const market cache. JSON on the end of it? Yes, we did. Oh, we'll just call it market then. Excellent. So they're not going to collide, which is good. So we're going to load the market cache. Only returning errors. Failed market data and failed Marshall market. Oops, marked data, market data. Bam, 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 bam. If the error is not nil. Failed to read from the cache. We are going to have to do this here for now. I might change my mind later, but not during this stream. Is that going to work? Hopefully. I think you can go completely overwrite yourself with that. Anyway, so M creation before Populate, but we're not calling it populate, it's update. Right, okay, it's not update. We need to go off and load from somewhere else. Where were we getting that? This is where we're doing our loads. Shove that there for reference. Right. I'm going to just very quickly shove in a load function. I've already got a load function. Update, populate. Was it populate that we called it in universe? Load, save, populate, yes. I'm just going to very quickly whack in a funk. What's that? Yes, it was scoped. So, markets, no, populate. That returns an error. We need some of our this. Ooh, chicken and egg problem. I need my universe. I don't have my universe. Okay, so populate's going to get called from load. Load's going to have to take a universe, and then populate can take the universe. And then what I might do, because I'm less fussed about. Right, okay, so sorry, I am whizzing around. Apologies if people get motion sickness. It's like yink, 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 yink. Update load. So load's going to take a universe. Call that U for now. I'm going to have a set of markets. Systems, which is going to be a thing of type IDs. So I'm going to allow this that I can configure my market and say I'm interested in these particular systems. Then our load can go off and see whether we've got the cache. We don't want that to go out in JSON, so we're just going to JSON. Oops. Doink. Don't care about. Do we care about? Maybe we do. Doesn't hurt to store it. Especially if we're not necessarily cached properly. So we're then going to go off and we're going to say populate, and then so actually in our populate we can do that in our update. We don't need the market data anymore, but we do need a universe. Pointed to a universe. I think it's probably a pointer to a universe. Then we are going to say no, I'm going to leave this where it was. Sorry, bouncing around a bit, just thinking out loud. Forging. Market range m dot system rather than market. Yeah, it's going to take a universe. Again, I think it's a pointer. And that is going to be our system. And oops. System. Can I not spell? System. There we go. Yeah, we'll bail here for now. Just thinking with my error here, what I'm doing is failed to fetch really. Market data. W error. There we go. That needs one of these. Excellent. Otherwise, we've got our market data, and then we can go off and we can do this. No longer needs to be public anymore. Fetch is probably actually going to be public. So the reason I'm going to put fetch public is because I may want to go off and actually fetch. I'm going to want to leave update public as well, because I may want to go off and just update something, and I may want a specific fetch function that doesn't get everything. So even better, rather than having this as something out of markets, let's put that into our fetch. So we're going to take a set of systems. And let's just be consistent as to where we're sticking universe. That's one of the problems of doing this once a week. Okay, we're not actually using anywhere, so universe can come first. Tea's gone cold. There. Switch to the cold drink. Okay. So, from our universe, these systems. So we can now do that. Excellent. So we can now go off and fetch specific system data. So they can then range through it, and then we can do update, which we possibly keep public for now. Update our data. Return nil. Okay. Now we don't want to clear down the market data because we are want to change that to do we want to clear down the market data for this particular market? We don't want to clear it all down, that's for sure. Problem for future me. Right, so now when we're doing a load, we also want a set of systems to come in. So where are we? Bunch of these. Oops. Bunch of these, which means I don't need. No, not that one. G2. Have I put G2 in here at all? No, I haven't. Excellent, because I don't care about it anymore. So this now cares about that. Load the data for the given markets. Try and load from the on disk cache. Always grab all the data from the ESI, if not. Load may take some time to complete. Yes, it may. So we are then going to want to go, if we need to create m.update, and that's going to take our universe and our systems. Why are you complaining? It's not m.update, it's m.fetch. That's why you're complaining. Failed to retrieve the market data. You only want one of those. You probably should be a pointer to a universe. Market data loaded and return nil. Oh no. Because we've got that m.save going off, so we need to return the error. Okay. Excellent stuff. Right, so this save, we're just saving ourselves. This is market cache. Failed to save the market cache. Great. This now needs changing, possibly. Yes. Markets.load that, and set of type IDs, which we're just going to put Jita in there for now. So this now allows me to load a whole bunch of stuff. Why are you complaining? No new variables. Okay. That should do exactly what it did last time, as in we should, what's the run dialog? We should get this output back out. It should take a little bit of time because the universe should be cached, the market data is not, so no, of course, yes. I'm being quite naive with my cache. So it's not checking to see if one's there and creating it first. At least we know the error handling is working. Better. So this will take a little bit of time as it goes off and loads the markets, and then we should spit out a whole bunch of data, and which should look very similar to what we had before. And then when I rerun it, it should just all happen pretty much instantly. Lots of shoulds. Gotta love shoulds. Chris has come on and said, interesting definition of evening. Yes, it is an interesting definition of evening. However, childcare this evening, and although I love a good commitment to joke, family comes first. Right, okay, so that's pumped out the 16 I was expecting. If we rerun that now... it's going off and loading again. What of those shoulds didn't fire? Why? Right, let's just have a quick look at that JSON file. Who can spot the idiot? So it is pretty simple what's going on here. We go off, we do a load, and then down here we check to see whether things are, so it's my fetch. I haven't set our creation date. Now that is interesting. That number's doubled, and I fully expect that number to double again. No, not double again. To get another 16 added onto it when I run it again, because it's going to go off and load. And this is the answer to the do. Do we need to clear down the market? Yes, we do. And then hopefully when I rerun this, it'll stay at 48. While we're waiting for this, I just want to raise a point of order with Chris and his comment about interesting definition of evening, and I raise him his definition of morning. Right, as expected, there's our 48, and hopefully this time round, boom. So we're now properly caching, but we need to make sure that we clear the data down when we're doing the fetch or the update. Okay, so I think what we need to do is just this. We don't care if it exists or not. That should just overwrite things. So let's just quickly go off here and kill that. So this should go off and load data from the way. I wonder if it's defaulting to now. If it's there we go. No, that's still. Okay, definitely confused as to why that's happening. We should be. Oh, of course. Although, why was it doing it the second time round? What is the TTL? So, hang on, that's now. Oh no, I'm trying to force this to reload. So that should be fine because that should be longer than the TTL. We haven't failed to read from the cache. The error should be nil. But our creation time should be before. Let's just log out our creation time at this point. This is the problem with creationism. Is our TTL something dumb? No, our TTL is -1 day. Something not adding up. Am I loading from the wrong file? Or something stupid like that. So it's telling me that the creation date is 2021, but I'm pretty sure I've set it to 2020. Right, what's not getting set? And why not? This is in markets, we're doing a load. Just get rid of this comp. Chris has officially defined the time of the day word as any time of the day. I'm all for this, especially because I deal with large swathes of the internet at times, and they're all in different time zones, and it's all very confusing. Which is why I've adopted Hello the Internet when I start up, because A, I have no idea what time zone you're in, and B, I have no idea what time you're watching this. It's all very confusing. Right, so our markets, we're doing a load. Find usages. Which is happening here. This is where we're picking our markets up. Let's just find out what that's defaulting to. I suspect now. Nope. That's defaulting to now I'm very confused. Okay, that's correct. Right, have I been done? I think I've been done. I think I know where that's coming in. Because we're doing... Yeah. No, it's fetch when we go off and do an update to the creation time, and a fetch we don't do until here. Oh god, we're going to have to strap the debugger to this. I hate the debugger. Learn how to play. Right, don't care about you. Did I not put a breakpoint in market? I'm sure I put. Oh, I put it in destruct, that's why. Shove it there. Right, so here's me, here's my creation date. wonder if that's the Jason and Marshall are going off and shoving something in there. At least we know where it's going wrong. Yoink, yoink, yoink. Now, is this going to be clever enough to display this as a string? Or is this where I find out it is just the word evaluating? No, I think it's just limiting itself on how much it's showing. Yeah. When in doubt, print it out. Chris has gone back to true crime documentaries because apparently he can't trust himself not to chat while watching streams. That's an awful lot of data coming out. I don't want to go this way. That's just going to print out the first 200 bytes of that particular string. So there is my creation date in B. That's not even market. Is there another market, Jason? There can't be. I created that one. Very, very, very confused. Especially seeing as the rest of the time is correct. Where is it getting that time from? It's not getting it from here, that's for sure. It's got to be a cut and paste error somewhere. Guarantee it. Don't worry about that later because otherwise we're going to spend all day here. So I'm just going to reset the cache entirely. It should go off and load. that's loading it from somewhere else. That is the only explanation for this, is it's loading it from somewhere else. Nope. One of these things is not the same as the other. Oops. Better. Right, so the issue there was, in fact, Goland was not able to display that file or save that file, or was doing something with that file. I don't know, something had gone horribly wrong. So we head back to Vi, or Vim. So that should now go off and load the mark. It should come back with 16. 16, yeah, 16. Interesting, there's no market data for Tristan's. Why is that? Have we stuffed up? We've definitely got market data now. So we stuffed up something with our definitely putting that into current. Let's go find out what our Tristan is. See if we can find it in that file. Tristan's one of those. That's going to be that. Nothing in there for Tristan's at all. I find that hard to believe. That said, all of our ladders appear to be null. And all of them. Half of them. What have I done? All the ladders for sell orders, I think. No, there's a buy order for a Tristan there. Definitely buy orders there. Have I fluffed up with what it's doing in terms of pulling the market data in? So we're doing a load, we're loading our markets, we should be going off and fetching stuff. Here with the set of systems, so we should be ranging through the systems. Just make sure we get in the correct system. Let's just change that back to that. That looks correct. That is loading our market data. Slowly. And that has fetched the market data and is claiming that we don't have that data there anymore. So we've definitely got the cheetah market data. It's just saying we've got nothing for Tristan. On the buy side, right, let's go have a look at this code. Not in there for whatever reason. Let's just do a quick little bit of diagnostics on here. Need a value as well. So if the ladder is actually sat, we can output buy. Okay. We can do the same for sell. Ah, I know why. I know why. Local history is one of the biggest godsends of the IntelliJ suite, and if your editor has a local history, I would strongly recommend that you use it. So my thinking is, I forgot that we call update multiple times. So we're basically clearing down our data every single time it gets called, and we're calling it multiple times because of each page that is each page that's loaded. So we need some way of saying if this is my first update, if this is page 1, then clear it down, otherwise don't clear it down. So yeah, we're getting our info out now. We're getting the 16 of that. Right, that is going to be somewhat annoying. However, again, future problem, because this is now caching, and that's actually what we care about. We can get onto the slightly more fun stuff. So I'm just going to shove it to do in here. We need to clear this down on first page load. I keep for all the subsequent ones. Just gonna have to keep that underline. Subsequent pages. Okay. Anyway, market data now loads quickly and is now cached. And then we can do something on market. How much time have we got left? Got now. Cool. So, one of the key things I actually want to do is to, like I say, find out how much you can get for selling stuff. Becomes hugely relevant with some of the other items. So we can start looking into the ladder, and we can start asking questions of that. So this will probably be on market. I may actually split market and markets out into two different files because we're going to have a fair amount of code in here, I think. So let's just shove markets there. Quickest way to do this actually is this. And just get rid of market. And get rid of markets. There we go. Right. So, put this on market. And we're not going to be updating our market object, so there's not going to be pointer functions. So this is going to be like value of, and we're going to have an item, which is going to be a type ID. And we're going to have quantity. Just going to be an integer. And this is going to return, have we got price? Yes, we've got a price. Are our markets dealing with prices? Orders, did we go that far? Yes, we did. The system as well. So first of all, trying to work out how we indicate a failure to actually get that price out. Might do that with a boolean. Actually, no, I'll just do it with a zero price. For now, we can fiddle with that later. Okay, so we need to pull the buy orders. So our buyers is going to be. Oh no, hang on, we've got our system. We're already in our system. We don't care about that. Buyers is m dot buy item. And then no, while I spelled 4 and go. Our quantity is greater than 0. We want the ladder actually. Just pull the ladder out of that. Wondering whether that's a copy or not. I don't think it will be. Not to worry. we're going to need our index in the ladder. So if our index is greater than our position in the ladder, or equal to then ladder, total is going to be price. Okay, we can return total. So basically, if there's nothing else left in the ladder, we're going to have to return the total. I know what we can do. We can return how many we actually managed to that's going to be how many we've got left. What we want is how many we have purchased. And there we go. So if we've got anything left in the ladder, we can go look in the ladder. If probably I should do this as a case statement. Okay, so case ladder index. If we've got more than what we want, we can return. No, we can. So do we have, no we don't have the 4, and let me see if I can grab, this is where I had in the other project. Let's go find the reference project that I had. Where did I put price? There it is. So what we're doing is basically just handling the multiplication bit there. So back into markets, this is going to be price of our quantity. So we're just adding. So if we've got enough in the ladder, we can just add what's there. Otherwise, this is our default case. The quantity is decremented by the amount that we have. Just updating the stuff so we can then go off and return the correct value. So otherwise we can take off the amount we've got. We can then add how much we managed to get to the price. That to purchased as well. Just going to change those around so we've got our things in a similar kind of order. There we go. So our quantity goes down by the amount, our purchase goes up by the amount, and our total goes up by the amount, and it should just whip round. Woomph. And that, our index needs to Index needs to go up one, so that'll then loop round and drop into the next next rung in the ladder, hopefully. And then at the end, we can return total when purchased. Okay, so if I then go into my main, so we'll do this, and we're going to say markets, we're going to go Jita, and we're going to say markets data for Jita, value of Tristan, and 10 of them. So if I run that, that's not going to give me anything. Why are you not going to give me anything? Right, quantity is 10. And there's our ladder, so let's step over that. Let's have a look at our ladder. Our ladder has all the stuff in it that we would expect. Oh. That's interesting. All our quantities are 0. So in fact my code is working. It's other code that's broken. Right, let's go back to our market data. Let's do a market here. That's not what's coming through from ESI. Got a set of orders. Orders have a price, which is float 64. Do we do anything with that price? We should do. We should be doing it here. That's only when it comes back from clear the caches. Okay, so our order has a price that is set, so we can then our ladder gets a thing, so there's our ladder, there's our doodad. Oh, it's a quantity, not the price. It was quantity that was 0. And our quantity is 0 on that because our quantity on our order, it's because we're pulling remaining, not total. Okay. Wonder if I've managed to get those muddled up or something. So here's our order data. That's our volume remaining. Have I spelt that correctly? That's the other thing. So after here, what endpoint are we pulling here? This is market orders. Up to market, have a look at orders. You look at that. Volume remain. Actually, let's just paste that in to make sure that we're... There we go. Okay, that's what's going wrong with that. So we can kill that. We can grab that. We can invalidate the cache. It's still invalidated. Excellent. Nope, didn't do that. We can run ourselves. This is one of the problems with stringly typed things. Let's go hunt down that, format sprintf as well. There is a printf somewhere in there because I've got it. I'll find it in a bit. Right, so that has now gone off and said, right, if I am buying 10 of these, I'm going to get 3103, which if we're looking in there, let's just refresh this data and see if that's... That figure does not look correct. Why is that figure not correct? So we're just hunting down that. Right, let's go back to here. Let's go back to that. Let's shove the debugger back on it. So we've got our ladder. Our ladder has still no quantities on it. So our quantity remains at 10. Our total remains at 0. Our price remains at 0. Our index goes up by 1. Okay, let's just shove one there, one there. Let's just play you. Right, okay, so now we've got to this. Index 16. is correct. So those values are adding up. And it's that one there. Interesting. So I'm wondering about the data shown here as to whether there is whether that's just showing the total quantity that was put up rather than the actual volume remaining of things. So we are going in, we are finding data. But that said, we've got no, all of those are quantity 0. Okay, so let's change this. We've got total, so when we go into this type of order, let's shove in a total here. Not really got total. Call it volume for now, might change that. Oh, no. That's not what we want, it's in order, not orders. Oops. Should give us a little bit more information on there. Just need to invalidate the cache again because we're going to need to load that data back in. There's a certain irony that I put a cache in and then keep having to invalidate it. Debug that, off you go. There we are. So we know the ladder's good. Let's just step over that and see. That is interesting. I know why. I know why. It's because the cache has been updated each time. I need to actually flush the cache entirely. I haven't set the custom property. Long time ago I changed say a long time ago, a few releases ago, I changed the version of Delve that was being used because bug and debug wouldn't work. And every time I update Golang now, it turns around and says that Delve has been updated and it won't change it. And I'm like, why not? Please just put the new version in there. Anyway, here's our ladder. Our ladder's got 16 in it, which we expect. That's better. So our quantities are now kind of what we expect. That is the cheapest price it's seeing, or are these unordered? This is the next question. 3613 is there. $3,800. These are not ordered. That's our next problem. We need these ordered by price. Right. So that's the next step. 40 minutes to do that in. A bit smaller. Okay, so we make our ladders over here when we update our data. Just thinking maybe a flush call here as well. Given that cache problem. Yep, market data, and then we can go the system IDs in that particular thing. It's still not going to work. No, we're just going to have to manually flush the cache. Now the thing there is we actually need to hold whether or not we've flushed for this particular system ID, and this update needs to be a lot more complex than that. Anyway, this is where we go off and we convert our market data. So this is where we start creating our ladders, and that is done here where we append things. A ladder is an order, so we can make orders sortable. There is a lovely little sort package that lets me do this. So we are actually going to need to define a ladder as its own thing to make it sortable. So a type ladder is just a set of order, and we can on there put and what we need is a len function, dereference that. Just see if there's a, I'm sure there's an example somewhere of this that I can just go yoink out. So actually, no, these don't need to be pointers because it's a slice and that will handle. So we return it, and then we go function L ladder, and we want a less function. So this is, no, it's bool, not int. This just says whether or not something is less than something else, so we can return, and that takes a I and a j. So that's basically is position A less than position B, so we can say position I less than don't know if this is going to work. Yes, it is. So that's nice and easy, and then the last one is going to be J. L ladder, and then a swap. And again, I and j int doesn't return anything, and we can just turn around and say that li lj equals lj li. Nice and simple. So this will now do sorting, so that when we go into our order, that is now a ladder. And that means that we can now, under market, should sort us. That's 2628. And that is the cheapest price there. We don't actually want the cheapest price, we want the most expensive price. Just run this now because it's all cached. Which is 3804, 3804. Yes, so now we are getting the most expensive price. So now what we can do is we can start looking at what happens if we wanted to buy 100 of them, and I would expect it not to be an exact figure now. So it's 3803, but more than that. So that's going off, and that's descending through the ladder, so it's doing 96 of these and some of those. So if we were now to go off and buy, he reckons there are 2,120 for sale. Let's buy all of them. Interesting. That does kind of total with what I'm thinking about how many are for sale, because that's sort of 1,300-ish. Yeah, I'm not happy with this figure. Maybe that's the total volume traded. Okay, so we've tried to buy more than we've actually got, so we can so we've tried to sell more we can get, so we can sell this many units for this price. So that is now letting me sort of look inside that ladder and actually get the kind of data out that I want to see, and I can do a similar thing for what I would get in terms of selling stuff. So we go back into our market, we've got our value of, just thinking about at some point I'm going to want to move these sorts, because we only need to do them once. The sorts are done on in place, and we probably don't want to have to keep doing them. Anyway, there is also a market value for. Cost for. And that is going to be a similar sort of thing. So we can turn around here and say and it's actually going to be incredibly similar to this, to the point where I think we may be able to factor some stuff out. We need to pass in a ladder. And then the logic remains the same, because we're just descending through the ladder. So I think actually this code can go on the ladder itself. Price and a quantity. Descend is a bad name, but just grab them from market for now. Those two. Might be a good name. So cost for is on the cell, and we want to go sorted the other way, and then this one is going to be on the buy. Okay. So that's cost for a given number of items. So if we go back to here, and we say, no, So I want Tristan, I want 2 of them just in case. So actually let's get 3. So that's going to be 1 to replace the one that I've lost, and a spare for each one of my characters that I play with most of the time. So we can now run that, and boom, it's going to cost me this many ISK, which is hopefully that value times by 3. 129240. No, that's not that number times by 3. That's not that number times by 3 at all. Let's just go off and do 1 of each to start off with. So that's 3804, that's correct. And that's 485. Ah, that's why. I'm showing more than the system in the... that's better. Yes, if it was to buy 3 of them. And then, yes, the reason why it's a bit of a funny value is I'm picking up that one and 2 of those ones, which is 1464800. Excellent. Got a couple of extra zeros on there because remember the price is operating in ISK cents, not in ISK. So what we might want to do here is just go and shove ourselves a string function. There we go. Printer is one of these. We just need to import these. So all these 2 packages are going to do is just handily put in commas and stuff for those of us who are chronically dyslexic. It means that I can actually make sense of what's going on there. Why are you not... Oh, I don't have a float in there. Sorry, this is just the code to convert it back into a... back into a floating point number. Okay, so if we run that, cool. So that's now showing me with nice commas and stuff what I'm going to get out of those particular transactions, or how much something is going to cost me. So I'm going to leave the coding part of the stream there for now. We've got somewhere this is actually usable for me. It's a little bit clunky insofar as it's command line driven at the moment, and I'm having to plug in things manually, but the next step is to go plug a nice web front end on it, which means that I can then select from a drop down box and say I want, you know, this item and a quantity of them. So you can envisage it ending up sort of looking a little bit like Eve-ning, so that I can go off and search for a Tristan, look out for me asking how to do drop down menus like this on the Discord, not a front end dev, and then I can start showing various bits of information, and I can start showing it in a sort of more real-time fashion. So I will probably have a couple of key things that I care about, mostly to do with oil prices, coming up. And then the next step after I've started displaying just this raw information is to start having a look at the items themselves in slightly more detail. Unfortunately, I don't think it shows you... Oh yes, they've got the I button. There is an I button. Excellent. Doesn't have what goes into manufacturing that. That's a shame. But certainly when you are... actually, I suppose with all... Feldspar. Okay, so Feldspar is one of the ores that you pick up. If you reprocess it, it's not going to show me how much is going to come out. But one of the things it will tell you is how much titanium comes out of a certain amount of Feldspar. So I can go look up that information. So I can then turn around and say, okay, I've got, for example, 1,000 Feldspar. What is the price of that? What can I fetch for that price? What can I get for that in the market? Pull that value back. Then I can turn around and go, okay, how much titanium can I convert that into? What will I get if I was to sell that on the market? And see whether it's better to sell the ore or the titanium. And then I can look at actually some of the blueprints that I've got in terms of manufacturing various items. They're quite simple at the moment. They use a small combination of these reprocessed materials. So I can then start looking at, okay, I've got this ore will produce these minerals, which I can produce this particular more complex item from. What can I get in terms of the price of that more complex item? Specifically, I'm thinking selling ammunition, shuttles, and some other very easy to build stuff. So I can look at what the various prices are and what the opportunity costs are, and I can start looking at what kind of depth of the market am I going into. So I can evaluate slightly further when I'm saying, okay, I want to dump 1,000 shuttles on the market. Let me spell more. Let's just search for a shuttle. So yeah, let's go have a look and see how many buyers there are at the station. So you know, the market depth is 1,529. If I was to go off and produce 1,000 of these things, that's probably going to do bad things to the market. So I can start providing information about, you know, what's 20% of the market look like, what are the values. So it may actually be that I go off and I sell 20% of the market in shuttles, and then look at whether I keep the rest of the titanium or the rest of the ore in stock for a later date, or whether it looks like it's good to sell. So there's a bunch of information, a bunch of stuff that I can now do with this data. Now I've got access to that data. A few more API calls that I'm going to have to make, which start getting a little bit more complex, because you have this idea of I forgot what the term is now. They use dogma and various attributes and stuff. So again, I'm going to have to go off and do this thing where if I'm interested in something, I'm going to have to look up the attributes and what attributes it's got, and then find bits. So very much like we did with going through the universe to find all the location data that we cared about, and then pulling the market data out. So there'll be some more caches and some more sort of iterative calls through there. And again, as with the universe data, the item data will take a long time to pull in, but I can cache it for a whole day. So hopefully that has been of some vague use in terms of looking at using Go to query an API, handle what happens when things go wrong, refactor the data that's coming in from your API into something that's more friendly on a local data structure, because these data structures that are coming back from the API are very much sorted to ESI, to CCP and what they need for their game, rather than what my needs are. They don't care about my needs, because why should they? So I can refactor things. Hopefully it's given a sort of a view into the thought process of designing something quote unquote properly. I know it's very easy to sit there and just throw out some code that does something. The idea behind these streams is often not just to do that, but to actually look at how you might do this properly and the thought processes that are going on. So you don't quite get as far as perhaps you do some of the talks where you see people go da-da, and they chuck out something in 2 hours that's absolutely amazing. The idea is that I want to be able to not pull my hair out in 6 months' time, and I want to make this do something else. And with that, I think I'm going to let you get on with your afternoons, your evenings, your mornings, whenever it is that you're watching this. Thank you very much for watching me. I have been Don Davis. This has been the Wednesday streams and an evening of code. I have not done my research for what's on next month, so I'm going to look to the Discord chat for Alex to poke that up. And all that leaves me to say is to remind you to click the like button, the subscribe button, the thumbs up button, now that is the like button, the bell, all the positive buttons. You know how this works. And also remind you that we are community led and completely not-for-profit, and with the whole pandemic thing, income, because we can't run our conference, income is basically reduced down to a few kind sponsors and our patrons, who we show at the beginning of these streams. They really have kept the lights on. We would encourage people who have found these streams to be of use or of value to become a Patreon member and help us produce more of these things. You can jump onto our Discord, nor.dev/Discord, I believe. I think the Patreon's at nor.dev/Patreon. A whole bunch of information at nor.dev. You can find us on the Twitters at Norfolk Dev, if I remember correctly. And hopefully I will see some of you maybe on another stream, maybe on the Discord. And with that, I shall say, ciao.